Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Top Sports. Happy Sunday to all of you. Been a busy couple of days. Obviously, championship Saturday was yesterday. Fantastic games across the board, except the ISU game. That was a complete manslaughter. But outside of that, rest of them, great games, really fun to watch. The ACC came down to the wire. I thought my ponies were going to get it done. They did not. Love that SMU is cooking. We'll talk a little bit about this playoff thing. People were in shambles about it. It's done, boys. It's picked. Learn from FSU last year. Cried about it for 14 days after the fact. Don't do you any good. If we're going to talk about this SEC bias, I'm sick of hearing about it, to be perfectly honest with you, because I've been vocal that Bama shouldn't be in it. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, the ponies got in, they deserve to be in. Let's leave it at that. Like, we're sort of riding this thing that the SEC gets treated better. Just shut up. Most of us here are SEC fans, so we get it. But shut up. I'm sick of hearing about it, boys and girls. Well, look, let's talk about it. Let's dive into it. Gators get their bowl game. We finally figured out after all the projections of where we were going to go. We should have known better. It's like the crystal balls. Ain't nobody got a clue what's going on. I think I saw 30 different teams. You know what one team I didn't see? Tulane. And that's where we're going. The only thing I will say was right was where we're playing. Gasparilla Bowl was predicted a lot of times for Florida, which is in Tampa. December 20th, which is a Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard kickoff against Tulane. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Some people are like, oh, are we happy about this? Like, do we want to play Tulane? I've been telling you guys this from the beginning, and I will beat this drum until the end of time. This is a business trip for the boys, okay? Listen, we're 3-0 for 2025. This is part of the 4-0. And now their quarterback for Tulane, he's hit the transfer portal, leading me to believe he's not going to play in this game. So Tulane may not be at full hand. I don't care. None of that matters to me. So maybe they'll just be like a Sanford, right? We're going into week 4 for 2025. This is again, it was never about the bowl. It was never about who they were playing, where they were playing. I think it's great they were playing close, so fans can go out and support and watch DJ and watch the youth of this team. That will be exciting to see how it kind of continues to grow with more practice, more reps. That's what's important here, is that these young guys, this youth of this football team, is getting more reps with one another. DJ Lagway gets more snaps under center as the guy. All those things are extremely important, which I'm excited about. Now, there's obviously some haters in here. Let them hate. Let them run their mouth. Let them have it. It's fine, okay? Kudos to them. We're on a different level. We're focused on different things right now. Don't be upset with where things are headed. I also will try to talk about the Trevor Etienne thing. There was some drama with that, with him taking a jab, I guess. I thought about how I wanted to address it a little bit. Jackson Beverly, $10. Thank you, Jackson Beverly, for the super chat. Let's get it, famous. High Top, what's going on, baby? Good to see you. So, look, I love the fact that we're getting into a bowl game. I never really cared where we were playing. People didn't want to play Michigan. I would have loved to play maybe a team with a little more pizzazz to kind of see how they get tested up. I think a Michigan team would have been fun, because Michigan, I believe, is in that same kind of boat where they're trying to capitalize on a big win against Ohio State headed into next season. Would have loved to play maybe like a USC, just again another kind of Power 4 conference, but it is what it is. You don't get to pick and choose it, so throwing a fit about it don't do you any damn good anyway. So again, their quarterback, like I said just a minute ago, has entered into the transfer portal, which opens up on tomorrow. It's weird. We're going to talk about some targets that Florida's going after. I've got a list from my boy Keith on On3. I won't give you the entire list. You guys want to go check it out, obviously go to On3. But because obviously it's just names that are already out there. There's probably names that aren't on the list that'll be entering in tomorrow. A good thing as well, too, you're seeing a lot of names at the portal today because they found out where they were playing. They found out whether or not they're going to be in the playoffs, a.k.a. Alabama. They had a slew of guys head into the portal. Another one was Walker Howard, quarterback from Ole Miss. I know Florida at one time was talking to him. Could they circle back around on that train for some backup quarterback presence in the transfer portal? It's going to be an interesting one to see. A big one that hit from Alabama was 5-star tight end. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. Again, the names are flying through the list right now, so it's hard to see. Alabama wide receiver Kendrick Law entered as well. 5-star true freshman wide receiver Caleb Odom. I think he was wide receiver / tight end. And then also they lost an offensive lineman. So again, they found out they weren't going to be in the playoffs. Things open up. The reason I bring that up is so far, again, we lost Deuce Spurlock, which I was going to talk about, a linebacker from Florida on Saturday. That to me is just a depth move once again. We talked about that linebacker room, a lot of talent coming in, but no massive names thus far. Napier said on Wednesday, our first order of business is retaining this class, getting these guys signed back on NIL deals through next year, right? So that's going to be first order of business. And for the fact that we haven't had any hiccups yet, and I will say this, last year at this time, I heard a lot of names, okay? We heard the names. I think I heard about Etienne days leading up before the portal entered, and Princely was another one that was being talked about. Again, nothing was confirmed. It was all, hey, these guys are interested in leaving, but we're working on saving them. I haven't heard that yet. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I would say for the first time I've been doing this, it feels like nobody has a true pulse, and I feel like I've said that before, but this one seems a little bit crazy. But I like that. I've always said I like when things are, no one knows what's going on, because it lets me know that things are under control on the other side, right? That Napier and the boys can kind of keep things locked down. When things are spreading out, can hurt your place in the game, I feel like. So, again, but I haven't heard too many ruffles of things going on. Again, I think people are upset about the Kelby Collins, Boardingham. Yes, the Andy Jeans, the Jakeem Jacksons, those stink, but you got to look at the room and say, okay, it makes sense. It wasn't like they're leaving to go play for another team, which leads me to that Trevor Etienne situation where in his interview after winning the winning touchdown was like, this is why you come to Georgia. And these Florida fans, right, are like, oh, he gets the last laugh. And I'm like, I don't think, and even Cam Jackson was like, kudos to him. Like, look, we joke. I give Etienne crap. The guy went and left and played for the enemy. But as a human, I mean, good for him, right? But when you say last laugh, like, cool, he went and won a trophy. He went and played for a team that was able to compete for an SEC championship. But if you look at his performance over the last 3 years, this is his worst season by far, not even close. Less yards, and I know he missed some games. Don't forget, he missed some games at Florida in his second year. Still did more yards at Florida, more touchdowns, averaged more yards while at Florida. Probably had a higher draft stock while at Florida. So if all you care about is Kevin Durant and going and piggybacking off somebody else, that's fine. I don't know if I can say he got the last laugh. Right? That to me is like, I don't understand that part of it. Again, Georgia never even offered him anything outside of high school. So you left a school and a team that believed in you, trusted in you, and made you, again, what you were, a 3-star recruit, a very high, valuable target going into the transfer portal. And you bailed on that, which is fine. I mean, that's just the name of the game. But to say he got the last laugh, like, it's a weird one for me. No hate towards the kid. Congrats. You got your W. I'm not mad about it. My feelings are hurt, and I don't think too many Florida fans are. It's some of these accounts kind of irritate me when they're trying to take jabs at Florida with him leaving. It's like, what are we doing? Doesn't make any sense. Kamari Wilson won 1-2 at the Big 12. Nobody's saying anything about that. So, FETN. Look, and some of you may not like it. That's fine. I'm not going to argue how we feel about it. Like, I think we handled our business and our beef with Etienne. We ripped his mouthpiece out of his mouth. After that, I was done with it. I don't care what happens after that. When it was mano a mano, you laid out of the game. That shows me who you are. You may be a dog on the logo, but you ain't a dog. You know what I'm saying? So to me, like, look, from a football perspective, yes, FETN. From a personal, like, past the game, like, look, go do you. Go be great. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? And I know some of you may not feel the same way, and that's fine. That's fine. That's how I function. Yeah, Etienne didn't do anything against us. That's all that I care about. In all reality, he hasn't really done much all season. You know what I mean? I've had plenty of guys in school that would ride the pine and get an A. You know what I mean? So Georgia was going to win it without him. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. But look, the thing that is he got the last laugh, I couldn't let that go because that to me was a bit much. Boys and girls, 548 strong, now 570. Be sure to smash the like button. See if you can, get us to 100 likes. Yeah, Real Army says getting to a bowl game is a win, and it's in Tampa. Gator Nation will show up to watch Lagway. Yeah, I don't understand about the complaint. I think it's fantastic. I think it's close to home, which is what the team we're playing is irrelevant to me. I know some of you may want more of a sex appeal team, but I think the fact that we get to go get these practices in, get these reps in, and it's close to home. So It's easy for Gator fans to go and travel. I know the Gator Bowl really wanted Florida because they know they can sell tickets, and we're concerned about other teams like an Ole Miss team. They're not going to travel to watch other team that's basically quitting, where Florida has some momentum behind it. Florida's got a little oomph behind it, and Florida fans, I mean, I feel like we should be excited and want to go support. And every opportunity you can see DJ Lagway sling it, take full advantage of it. Take full advantage of it and really see the youth of this team. And again, like Cam Jackson's already announced he's going to be playing in it. And here's what's going to tell us a lot. The next couple of days, we're going to find out pretty quickly, right? The portal, not so much. I'm more watching, I think, the guys declared for the NFL draft. So watching the likes of the Banks, the Barbers, the Jake Slaughters. Again, I think that's what's something to keep an eye on, because if those guys go, then that kind of determines how aggressive we get. If they stay, obviously it's fantastic, number one. Number two, that should tell you that is like that just a slap in the face of like this team truly sees and believes is very similar to Michigan 2 years ago, where those guys all stayed. A lot of senior guys stayed to give it one more route. Now, they obviously had a better year going into that championship year, but a lot of them stay because they're like, we see what's happening. We need one more. We need one more knock at it, and so that would tell me a lot if how this team views DJ Lagway, how they view Napier, and how they view like, hey, how next season can be. That is what excites me. So we'll know over the next couple of days. It's going to be something to keep an eye on. Again, I'm not saying just because a guy goes to the NFL that's a knock either, because Jake Slaughter, I think his stock is at an all-time high. You don't want to. It's a gamble. It's a gamble on your career too. So. There's a multiple ways of looking at it, and we'll definitely keep an eye on it. But like I said at the beginning too, this is a name we're going to talk about here in just a minute. Deuce Spurlock, linebacker, has entered into the portal. Didn't hear much of him this year at all. I think he came 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But he hasn't done much. So again, when I was going through the list of names of linebackers, I put Deuce on there, or Cam had him on his list. I imagine Cam said he'll keep that thing updated, but I assume he's not on there anymore. So a name that's already being looked at right now is Benjamin Perry, 6'3", 205-pound safety. And I told you guys, look, we've got a lot of cornerback talent, a lot of safety talent, but it's very young. And I expect Will Harris and the boys to get busy in the portal to bring in some experience, to replace that Triquez Bridges, right? To be what DJ Douglas was supposed to be, right? That room still needs the veteran experience. Even in Asa Turner was supposed to be that as well too. Only one of them really worked out, and Triquez Bridges, and it was still successful, but I think you still want to continue to have some veteran experience in there. Now, what I do found interesting in the Corey Bennett article here on 3 says he has some visits already signed up to UCLA for December 14th. Nothing new with Florida yet. How that's possible, how that's even news, or how that's even like public knowledge without it opening yet is beyond me. I don't know. I don't make the rules here, but look, I think Florida has a main focus of really retaining guys before they hit the portal. So I know we've been saying, hey, they got to get aggressive. They got to move quick. And even Napier has said that. I am concerned that it's going to move slow for the fan base. That's my perception. I could be wrong. But we haven't seen a lot of people come and say, hey, we're staying. We've seen the Eugene Wilson's locked in, Trayon Webb. You got to assume DJ is going to stay, just given the fact that they keep talking about how he's been a pivotal point for recruiting. Although, he hasn't announced, but again, I don't think you have to think about him leaving. But I would like confirmation just to be sure. So we'll, I hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully, tomorrow drops and we've got 3 visits lined up in 3 days. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever it may be. That's what I hope to have happen. Just because I know Florida fans are going to be chomping at the bits of like, what are we doing? Why isn't nobody here? Now, I've got a list here from Keith Napier. I'm not going to read the whole list because obviously it's their article, but I do want to count how many people he has put on their list. These are guys that have already entered their name in. So the list can get bigger. It will get bigger, but these are just guys that we know of publicly that are available. That's outside of tampering. Nobody's tampering. Yeah, they are. This is just the public knowledge. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 guys on this list thus far. Some of the big names we've already been talking about is Keyshawn Silver, the D lineman. C.J. Daniels, the wide receiver that's apparently showed interest in Florida. That one we've heard about. Nick Anderson, wide receiver from Oklahoma, is on this list as well. Benjamin Perry, we just talked about him. Dane Key, a name that we've been really hitting home on, and a couple of offensive tackles as well is on this list. Again, more names will be over the next 24 to 48, 72 hours will start flooding in because, again, a lot of these schools just find out, hey, are they going to make the playoffs, not make the playoffs? What bowl game are they playing in will probably play a factor to that as too for some people. I don't know how that works out, but again, we're going to be monitoring over the next couple of days because it's going to be mayhem, and we'll continue to talk about it. I'll give you one of the O-line names. One of them's from Georgia Tech, Corey Robinson, and the other one is Carver Willis from Kansas State. So there's some punters on here, some safeties as well. Again, because we're losing Crawshaw. We brought a 5-star in, but want some experience. So again, a lot of names, but this is a very early list because, like I said, tomorrow things will heat up, and there was, from the time the bowl games were announced, there was 15 more names and a lot from Alabama, a lot of stars from Alabama as well too. So I don't think wide receivers should be a huge issue for pulling in, given the fact of how we've done with those last three that came from the portal, have had much success. I would say really amped up their stock, and I think we're gonna go for guys like that, very similar, that are trying to make one big splash, like a C.J. Daniels that needs a big year, that is on a contract year, right? And I think the boys are still gonna play money ball, so we'll see. Yeah, a couple of tight ends. I don't know if they're gonna go after tight ends, Skyblade. I know we want that, but I think they're probably pretty content with their tight end room. And again, we haven't shown to really make a tight end look sexy in the regards of like a Kyle Trask. We go after the Hayden Hansons. Hey, you're gonna block, and that's not a shot against Hayden Hanson. Hayden Hanson has been fantastic, but I would say your role is 70-30. 70% of the time you're just an O lineman. 30% of the time you're roll out. So we'll see. But yeah, I think for me, wide receivers, we need to get maybe like one or two. I really want to see this room. This room is going to be older this upcoming year. Some D line, going to need to fill that room back up again with the loss of Jackson and Big Dez and possibly Banks, someone to keep an eye on. So to continue with the depth and experience, Cam Jackson was an absolute treat from the portal. So love that. Again, Cam Jackson's such a cool story. Someone who came from Memphis and really became like just the ultimate Gator, So be interesting to see too what happens with Miami. See what they do with their bowl game, their Pop-Tart game. Will Cam Ward play? So all things to keep an eye on over the next, again, couple of days here. So these guys what they're probably going to more likely wait on is for us anyways, the NFL guys to wait for their grades to come back. I remember we had Ricky Pearsall on the year he decided his senior year, the year that the before the senior year, and I go, hey, what made you come back? And he goes, I just felt like the NFL didn't look at me like I looked at myself. I had something to prove, and obviously ended up becoming a first-round draft pick. Now, he didn't tell me how low they had him. If I had to guess, it was probably third or fourth round. So massive overhaul for him. Where's Jake Slaughter sit? How do they look at Cam Banks? It all just depends, right? It all just depends. Anthony Richardson, again, when people were upset, I don't believe he should have left. I think another year in college would have done him wonders. But I also said, look, you're projected a top 5 first-round draft pick. The chances you are that the following year are very slim. So you really got to kind of take that into consideration. D-lines and those things, those are a little bit different, right? Because of what team's available and how you can grow and get bigger and stronger. So I'm hoping we're able to keep him and lock him in. Nose tackle should be a top priority. Yeah, that's the D-line, right? That's what I'm looking at. When I say D-line, it's that Cam Banks and Des Jackson position. I know Jamar Lyons it should be coming back, and we heard a lot of great things. But again, still coming off injury, right? Think about Justice Boone coming off injury. We heard a lot of great things about him. Has the injury, wait all season. We're like, Boone's going to be the guy, gets the number 1 jersey, disappears. So, and obviously we were able to overcome those things with other pickups. But again, you don't ever know how guys are going to recover from injury. You just don't know. So something to keep in mind. But really excited for this bowl game. Really excited for this portal season. I think Florida's in a really good place. I think they're in a really good opportunity to sell portal guys this year than they've had in a very long time. I think that's something else to kind of keep in mind again, is that showing what you're able to keep, you can really sell like, hey, we are going to be a team that goes far. We are going to be a team that is explosive. We are a team that, look at our schedule. We are on national TV every single week because of our schedule. So if you're trying to make a name and make one big last splash, okay, we're not going to pay you $76 million like Texas is, but I'll give you 25 or 50, right? I'm making numbers up here. And let's go get it done. Let's make some business happen. Let's make this thing work. Now, obviously Texas is going to be big time as well too, but that's where the pitch has got to be. That's where the pitch has got to be. So I love, I think I talked about it already, but the lineman that flipped from Georgia to Texas. Can't wait to have Lagway 100%. Not time for 15 practices. I don't know what that means. Not time for 15 practices. Oklahoma State just hired Todd Gratham. I saw that. And Scott Frost, back to UCF. Busy week here. Also tomorrow, we've got some awesome stuff here we're going to be having along with Stephen Harris, two comedians, Gator fans. Funny Man Gatelin and Nod Ross, a.k.a. Little Nut, will be joining us tomorrow to talk about Florida Gators, what's coming up in the next couple of weeks here. Again, big-time Gator fans, really happy to have them on, and a different perspective of Gator football. You hear me and Stephen Harris talking up all the time, so two guys I'm sure it'll be an absolute blast. Kind of like Josh Prey, where it's hilarious, but also love the Gators. So Lions going to be cool. He's an insides guy. Yeah, look, I'm hoping nothing but the best for Lions famous, but, always got to keep that in mind. Elliot Donald from Pittsburgh. Yeah, dude. It's Donald's little brother. The edge from the Rams. Sam Darnold. Not Sam Darnold. Oh, gosh. I'm drawing blanks right now, boys. Flying over my head. But baby Darnold would be fun coming off the edge. And to be fair, Pitt has done a fantastic job of producing D linemen and edge rushers that have all went elsewhere. But, I mean, even this year, their defense was fantastic, even with a loss of some. LFGM disappointed in the ball matchup. I mean, yeah, some people are. Again, I'm not. For me, it was bigger than the other logo that we're playing. I would have liked to have been tested more, to be honest with you. Genuinely, I really wanted us to. Because, again, like, will we be mad we've lost? Yeah, I don't want to lose. But I want to see DJ Lagway get toe-to-toe. I want to see this younger core get tested. I would have loved another game to get tested before, the spring game and that first game of the season. Would have been great. I think you could have learned a lot. Not saying Tulane's not going to do that, but again, in Michigan, I know some of you didn't want that, but I would have loved it. So need at least 12 first-string D linemen. O-line, D-line, wide receiver. I think those. Aaron Donald, thank you. I don't know why I was slipping there on that one. Lions and Robinson could be solid on the inside. Look, I think they're all going to be. I'm excited to see what they're all going to do. Right, Brian Taylor, Deontay Robinson, Micah Bora, the new class coming in. What are they going to be able to do? You can't ever always be complete certain. I mean, look, we had guys that we went and got. I mean, Slackman didn't do anything, right? So we had more. They just didn't work out. So our bowl game is the 20th, which is also the week of the playoffs. First game, I believe, is the 20th, and then the 21st is the first round of the playoffs, which is going to be a blast. I mean, let's talk about that for a minute here, the last few minutes of parts of the show. 700 strong. Let's talk about this matchup. For me personally, I love it. I have no complaints of it. Again, I don't believe Bama should have been in it. I think the Ponies deserve to be in it. It was a no-brainer to me, in my opinion. I think SMU's played well all season long. What I am getting sick of, though, and I said at the beginning of the show, is people complaining about SEC bias. Look, these guys, Danny Canales and Bud Elliott's that have been yelling and screaming about it, it's like anything else. It's kind of like the cancel culture. It's like the more they talk about it, it's finally like people just kind of are sick of the bitching, so they almost respond to it. And I was listening to some guy ramble early on. He's like, these teams just need a chance to show they can do it. Every time they've stepped in the ring, they've got absolutely obliterated. So it's not like they've been ignored. TCU, obliterated. Notre Dame, obliterated. Boise State, this is the farthest they've got. I know when they showed off in the bowl game, they did well. They did great things. And again, every now and then, yes, these teams do well. But the same reason, like, why Florida gets a lot of crap when they finish in the top 10 for recruiting, it's because they're 7th in the SEC. Put that in your head. They finished 11th in recruiting, but they're 7th in the SEC. Okay, so that means all the talent every year for the last decade is heading into one conference. Now, I'm not saying these teams don't find talent, they don't find nuggets, but the majority of it lives and breathes in the SEC and then a little bit in the Big Ten. If you go look at SMU, and this is not me hating on SMU, right? Because I think you can still build up talent and grow, but that's why you'll have ebbs and flows, right? Because you can have a really good, you get to the point where your senior year and you get these guys you've been having for 3 to 4 years and you do great things. You can have success. I'm not saying that at all. But again, the reason why SEC is always looked at a little more favorable because everybody in the SEC has talent that SMU has just this 1 year. But they have it all the time throughout all the years. So I know most of us know this that are talking about the SEC. And I'm all for has there been times where it may have been a little bit egregious one side? For sure. But let's not flip this thing completely the other direction. I almost feel like we've got to be louder back. We've kind of been ignoring it, but it's let's not let it get carried away. This thing worked out just fine. The fact that people are still bitching about it is beyond me, right? Clemson got in, as they should have. Army's one that can complain. 100% LSU. They had one loss, and nobody's bitching for them. Why not? All these ACC guys, why aren't you hooting and hawing for Army? Well, they're what? Oh, their schedule's not good enough. Oh, okay. So, you can't pick and choose where you want it to be. The only other thing I think that this has to change, and Danny Canal, whatever his name is, and it's not his opinion matters, but again, these are guys where I get frustrated because they have a very powerful voice. They're on a platform that is, they're on CBS Sports. They can start spewing this drama, and then little twat muffins that have mics in front of them that want to be cool will start running with this narrative, and then it starts spreading like a disease. And it's stop. Don't press a negative narrative because you're biased, because your team's dog water this year. Get out of your feelings. It's extremely hypocritical. Everything you're complaining about, you're doing it just the opposing side. I think the one thing we can all agree on, though, is I'm all for you winning your conference champion, you getting an automatic bid. I like that. I think that's great because, again, you don't control your conference. You don't control who's playing in your conference. I'm not a fan of Arizona State getting a bye over Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, or Penn State, or Indiana. I'm not a fan of that given where they were ranked. I think that has to change. And I love Arizona State. Love the story. I think they're an awesome football team. Scadabo is an absolute beast. I just don't think. They jumped. They jumped. In all reality, they jumped 12 spots. Right. That to me is a little much. So that probably needs to be addressed headed into next season. But I thought it was fantastic, man. I absolutely love it. I think we're seeing a lot of teams and seeing a lot of talented players like a Scadabo, who we wouldn't be talking about as much. An Ashton Genty, we would talk about him, but now we really are going to talk about him and really get to see him play. Those are all great things. Thomas Smith says, if our guys don't opt out, that means the culture at UF is good. I think that's something really kind of, way on the hat of Billy Napier too, is that and somebody tweeted me about it, so we haven't had many issues off the field with this squad. And they're really starting to put it together. So I love that. The NFL ain't rating the ACC for draft picks. Yeah, that's the point. It's very obvious, and I'm okay with, again, this is good. Boise State earned their right, and Boise State drew a hell of a card. SMU and Penn State, those are arguably, nothing against SMU, but I think SMU's gonna roll through those two teams. I could be wrong. I just think that offense is incredible. They got off to a slow start against Clemson and kind of got caught with their tail between the legs, but that is a good football team. I hate James Franklin. I think SMU traveling to Penn State's going to be interesting, but I think either one of those teams rolls Boise. I could be wrong, which makes this fun. I think Texas drew a good card. I think Texas is going to steamroll Clemson. Could be wrong there too, which that I would not love, because then the ACC boys will really get buck wild with it. Would love Tennessee to beat Ohio State. And I know you guys may hate hearing that, but I hate Ohio State. I loathe them. Indiana, Notre Dame should be a fun one. I think it's kind of two very similar teams, very well coached, well processed teams, Great defenses on both sides of the ball. Not too much sexiness going on in that quarterback room. Ryan Leonard, I think, obviously a bigger name than old boy from Indiana. Can't think of his name at the moment. But, yeah, I think that'll be a fun one, and I think either one of them gets curb stomped by Georgia. It looks like it's Oregon's to lose right now, to be honest with you. I just think the firepower they have, all these games are going to be played in a turf-like bowl game or in a dome, which is very fast games, which favors Oregon. I think they roll anybody, to be honest with you. So it's there to lose. Yeah, James Franklin's going to choke again, 100%. That guy cannot win the big ones. I can't stand that guy. And I think SMU rolls him. I don't know. The Pony Express might be in full swing, boys. Full swing. You rooting for Indiana to win the whole thing? I wouldn't love for Indiana. I would love for Kurt Singeti to do some big things. That'd be awesome too. I mean, this is so fun. I love all of it. I can't wait. I mean, these are matchups that we could sometimes get in a bowl game, right? But they've never had the same, energy behind it like these do. Like these games all mean something. You know what I mean? SMU, Penn State, at Penn State. I don't think that's ever happened. Tennessee at Ohio State. Are you kidding me? Clemson at Texas. I mean, the first round of the playoffs is going to be an absolute treat. So what the dates are on there? So we've got Friday is Indiana and Notre Dame at 8 p.m. And then to be announced are the other ones. Oh, no. 12 p.m. is SMU and Penn State on the 21st. Beautiful. 21st at 8 is Tennessee, Ohio State. So at night, Ohio. Going to be cold. And then 4 p.m. at Austin, Texas for Clemson versus Ohio. Or, excuse me, Clemson at Texas. So a great weekend of football. And, of course, Florida plays at 3:30 on that Friday, which before Indiana and Notre Dame. A great weekend of betting, too. I mean, that's going to be a blast. So we'll see. We'll see. What I do think is fun as well. So this was Arizona State's first year in the Big 12, correct? I thought so they came from the Pac-12. So they won their first year in the conference, and Oregon won. But Clemson held on strong, held the logo strong for them, and of course Georgia was able to hang on strong too. So, you think Georgia's gonna win it all, Q Lee? Look, here's my thing too. Let's talk about that. Did you hear James Franklin roast Oregon? Blamed officials and basically said Dylan Gabriel is too old to be playing in college. He's a baby. These coaches, bro, have become, and I don't like to complain. And I've always had respect for Kirby, and I've said that vocally on this show, so grill me if you want to. But he has been a complete baby back B this year. And to complain after winning the SEC championship to Greg Sankey about your schedule, playing on the road, shut up. Shut up. You have had a cakewalk the last couple of years. Like, what do you... Stop. We can't say it's SEC, it means more, and then bitch about the schedule. Like, that just annoys the hell out of me, dude. Just go out there and play the games, bro. Like, you want to be this pit bull and jump and play cornerback on the sidelines. Like, that, to me, I lost a little respect. And Georgia fans, you guys want to roast me? Your coach is being a baby. Coach is being a baby. I've roasted Billy when he's been a little too lethargic, okay? Your coach is being a baby. That's Lane Kiffin's job, is to complain and to do all of that. Not Kirby. He's trying to be like Saban, but Saban's got more couth when he does it. He just ain't got it. Oh, here we go. Just got a tweet from David. Says, very passionate John Summerall addresses all the reports linking him to the University of North Carolina Tar Heels opening. So Tulane might not have a head coach for their bowl game either. So that game might fall apart very quickly. But look, that's what the bowl game is. That's what bowl season is anymore. So unfortunately, that's just the way that it goes. Again, we can't control that. Never cared. That's why I didn't care about who we were playing. Boys have got a business trip. It's a business trip for the boys. Does not matter what is happening across the ball, other side of the ball. That is not your problem. That is not your problem. Yeah, Kirby's been a baby. Yeah, it's been gross. It's been exhausting. I'll show respect. Guy's a great coach, but he's been an absolute baby. Somebody needs to check him. His ego's getting out of control. Out of control. That's Norvell's job. You know what I mean? All right, boys. Well, great Sunday show. Good to see you. Kirby was quite dramatic, yeah. we'll see what happens with Arizona State's head coach. We'll see what happens with SMU coach. There's gonna be some. We talk about this market. Some head coaches have amped up their market over the last couple of days. Y'all be good. Happy Sunday to y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow again. Jam-packed show. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. Family's continuing to grow. We're not going anywhere, boys. It's just getting started. But college football playoffs, bowl season, portal. I mean, this thing's about to ramp up here, boys. So y'all don't want to miss it. Turn the bell on. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love.